Greetings, loyal minions. Welcome back to the SciShow, the #1 ranked YouTube channel for the 11 people that are going to subscribe in the next 12 hours to bring the tally up to 300. I really appreciate you. I actually appreciate everyone, especially those that have subscribed. I'm close to 300, so it would be fantastic to wake up with a little surprise. So please gently caress that subscribe button. Let's take a look at the new Morlovia seasonal heroes. First of all, I will say, if you are looking to use all your epic hero tokens, firstly, hold off until next month if you already have a version of this hero of the month, Chloris. I quite often forget and at some point just randomly do my pulls. But yeah, if you've already got Chloris, I would wait until next month. Alternatively, if you don't already have Chloris, I would highly suggest pulling this month, as I believe Chloris is far better than the hero of the month for October, if he's released as he has been tested in beta. With that out of the way, let's have a look at Wayne. Wayne is a wizard. He's obviously part of the Morlovia family, where we're getting the bonus mana generation for 1, 2, or 3 heroes. We have the passive of stealing buff, so when the character casts a special skill, they have a 50% chance to steal the newest dispellable buff from a random enemy that has buffs. If there's no buffs, it'll do 70% damage to enemies. The stats are looking a little low, which is quite normal for the seasonal heroes, so the most recent heroes released were a little bit over 1100, but not too bad. We've got pretty reasonable stats. That HP might be a touch low compared to other newer heroes, but it's not too bad. So we'll move on to the special skill. We have Blood Illusion, running it very fast. I do enjoy very fast heroes. I believe it gives you a good chance to set the game up without making too many matches, but they obviously do have the issue of being a little bit weaker sometimes on that special skill. So Wayne is dealing 284 bleed damage over 2 turns. The caster absorbs 30% of dealt bleed damage as health. So straight up, that's looking a little bit low. So 284 bleed, that might be closer to 400 once your emblem and troop and all that type of thing, but it's a couple of hundred per turn, which isn't a big amount at the moment with the amount of healers and large minions and that sort of thing. On top of that, the caster steals 60% of any healing applied to all enemies for 2 turns. So we're absorbing 30% of dealt damage. So if we're damaging for about 200 multiplied by 5, if everyone's hit, it's 1000 damage. So 30% of that, maybe 300 health. So it's a little bit, it'll keep him alive. He's then also stealing 60% of any other healing applied for the next 2 turns. 2 turns is a little bit low. I realize he's running at very fast speed. However, it's just a little bit low, and I don't think he's going to make a dent on the opposite team. Obviously, that depends on your roster. The clear person to pair him with would be Matilda to extend the ailment and to make it stronger. Again, depending on your roster, you may throw him in with a rock or costume rock to just get that sand damage on there as well and try to get as many ailments as you can flowing through and just slowly taking them down. Obviously, if the enemy team doesn't have a healer, you're looking quite good. We will throw on the max power preview. So we've got the Vampire Aether talent. So at the start of each battle, this hero heals 100% of dealt normal damage for 6 turns. Not really huge, enough to keep him alive a tiny little bit longer. So overall, without knowing the heroes that are coming out at Christmas time, it's going to be a tough decision as to whether to hold off on using those EHTs or whether you want a new shiny little weird looking bat with a squished up nose. I mean, he does have a top hat, so points for that. However, if you are going to use those EHTs, then Wayne could be a decent addition to your roster. Again, it just depends on where your roster is currently at. I personally wouldn't suggest chasing him at all, but as usual, the seasonal heroes are going to be a little bit lower, so you do need to make that sacrifice as you're using those EHT. The other new seasonal hero is Chester, who's looking a little bit freaky there. Not sure what's going on. He's got swords poking out of everywhere and into everywhere. He's got the weird little cage on his head. Don't know if he's pretending to be a ghost. I don't know. He looks a little bit crazy. We have a sorcerer, which gives the talent of the delay, which can be quite useful to drop the mana generation. Again, we have the Morlovia family, we've just gone over that. We have the passive of stealing the buff, so that's also the same as the previous hero. It's Wayne, you idiot. You've forgotten already, haven't you? The stats are looking reasonable, bit higher HP being slow. The attack stat is a little bit low considering he is a damage dealer, so we'll move on to that. His special is Horrifying Whale, running at slow speed. We're dealing 440% damage to the target nearby. The target and nearby enemies receive 730 curse damage over 5 turns, starting low and increasing every turn. And the target and nearby enemies get silenced for 5 turns. So the silence is the best part of that. He's running at slow speed. He is doing a reasonable hit, but with that low attack, it's not going to be huge. The curse damage is good. It's just throwing a bit of extra damage on. However, it does give the opposition team a long time to remove that. And also it's starting low, so the first few turns aren't going to be huge. Obviously, being a slow hero, you're going to be looking at using this in Rush War as the main place. And the issue with that is you're generally not going to get those 5 turns to take full advantage of the curse. He's either going to fire again and replace it, or it's going to be cleansed or something along those lines. So it's okay, not fantastic. The target nearby enemies get silenced for 5 turns. That's awesome. You could pair this guy with Mickey in Rush War. And again, with the ailments, you're also looking at Matilda, even though that's off colour, to extend them and increase it. You've got 9-headed Beast in blue who does similar by extending those ailments. However, he is also running at slow speed. But again, a good pairing if you're going to go with the Rush War. I think Salamine may also increase. It's a hero I don't see much, but I'm pretty sure she increases the duration of the ailments as well. So something to consider. We'll throw on the max preview here. We've got the revive, so if the hero is defeated during the first 4 turns of battle, they are resurrected. Very unlikely to die within 4 turns, so almost a bit of a waste. But it can be good if you're trying to use this guy in some sort of farming capacity or event stages that you're struggling to get through. I don't think as a hero worth chasing. It's going to be a tough decision whether you use those EHT this month or for the next seasonal event. I do think slower heroes are becoming a little more relevant now outside of Rush. With the legendary troops, they can stay alive a lot longer, and with the big heals and minions and that sort of thing, I still prefer to pair them with something that's going to give them additional mana to try and get them charged quicker. But again, it all depends on your roster. So if you do your pools, good luck with getting Chester or Wayne. And lastly, we'll take a quick look at the costume for Alucard. Obviously the costume bonus, sorry for the cat interruption, just a common occurrence these days. She loves the attention. Back to Alucard, the costume bonus is quite good. So if you already have this guy maxed out, then grabbing the costume is just an absolute bonus for you, especially with that huge health bonus. So we look at the difference here is destroying all minions from the target and nearby enemies, dealing 245 damage to the target and nearby enemies. All allies recovering 12% health for each minion that's destroyed. All allies get 3% mana for each destroyed minion, and the attack bypasses defensive buffs, including counter-attack. He's changed over to Wizard class from Sorcerer, so that will just allow him to do a little more damage if that processes for each active buff. Unfortunately, he doesn't give himself any buffs. He's also got the Revive Aether talent. Sorry, I'm a little bit all over the show with this one. Not doing it in a very structured way, but that's really unlike me, isn't it? So obviously he gets the Revive as well, which we've just mentioned probably isn't great because you're generally not going to die within the 4 turns. So probably expires just before you need it to kick in. Stats are looking reasonably decent. However, that the defense is quite low. We have the same passive as the others. So really, we're just looking at a little decrease to the overall damage, although the attack stat is high, so that's probably going to work out pretty similar. He's recovering a little bit extra health for each minion, so that's good, and it's the same mana increase. So I do like free mana. Obviously he's very valid in minion wars, however with costume Diachans, minions not being able to remove, that makes it a little bit harder, but definitely still viable. And as I said, if you've already got this guy maxed, the costume is just an absolute bonus. If you don't already have him, he's going to be a decent addition to your team again, especially for those minion wars. running it very fast. That heal can be quite useful once you destroy those minions, and he's just giving extra mana to the rest of your team. So a decent hero, not as relevant as when he came out, but obviously that's a common theme. But yes, if you're doing pulls, best of luck to you. Is it just me, or does she look like she wants to kill me and take over? If you'd like to see that happen, just drop me a like and subscribe. If we can get like 1,000 likes and 100 or 200 subscribes, then I'll let the cat take over for a day. Or if she kills me, forever.